bullshit. No, but really though, a lot of companies seem to just like overreach so many boundaries just to keep this saying, this subject of keep the customer happy or the customer is always right. Like that saying is just such, it has no meaning anymore. Because let's take it from, you know, someone who's worked retail from seven going on 7 years this year's perspective. Okay, we're all human here, correct? There are no aliens living on this planet as far as we know. We're all human, meaning none of us are perfect. Not a single goddamn one of us are perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes because we're all human, and we're prone to mistakes because we are human beings. We are prone to mistakes. We are supposed to make mistakes. That's what being human is, you know. And so for some reason though, there's always the small percentage of customers, you know, at retail stores. I'm not gonna call my store specifically, but at retail stores that tend to think, you know, because a mistake happens, that it was done on purpose, and you know, they demand all the compensation and all the entitlement for it because, you know, it was a mistake, so therefore they get all the benefits of that mistake. I get everything for this goddamn mistake, and my life depends on this mistake. I need to be compensated for this mistake or it's over. And now I'm ranting about this right now because today I had a little bit of a situation at work, and don't get me wrong, like I said, I enjoy my job and I have fun times at Walmart, and I've been great this past week, to be honest. But I had this guy come in, and there's this item we've sold since the beginning of time: tomatoes, sold by the pound, always, never ever has been changed, ever, has always been sold by the pound. And this tomato, I rang it up and he was like, whoa, what happened? What's that tomato say? I was like, $1.78 a pound. He's like, over there it says it's supposed to be sold by each. And I told him in like the nicest way possible, these have always been sold by the pound. It was probably a mistake. He's like, well, I work at the produce down in somewhere. I can't really, you know, discriminate the location because, you know, I'm not going to disclose that and then hate on somebody because of where they're from. It don't matter where they're from. But anyways, he was like, well, I work down in produce and blah, 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 this Walmart, and they, you know, that needs to be changed. They need to come off the shelf. And so I'm like, okay, I can't change the price, you know, because they've always been sold by pound and there's nothing I can do about it, but I can ask the supervisor if you want. He's like, yeah, go ahead and call the supervisor or whatever. I'm going to talk to them, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So we wait. He's holding up my line over these damn tomatoes. Like, seriously. Let me just tell you guys something. People annoy me sometimes when they make a big deal out of something that isn't a big deal. Like, out of such a minuscule change or over such an insignificant item. It's fucking tomatoes, man. Like, there's no fucking big deal about these damn tomatoes. They're not made of gold. They don't have freaking Coke in them or some bullshit. They're just normal damn tomatoes. And yet you're making this big deal over a small little price change. They're $1.78 a pound. He wants it for $1.78 for the whole goddamn thing. And it ended up only ringing up to like $3.74. So like he's paying like what, 98 cents extra or some bullshit math that I can't figure out right now. Like $1.18, $8, whatever. It's $1. One fucking dollar, dude. Anyway, supervisor comes. Supervisor explains exactly what I said, that they've always been sold by pound and there's, you know, it's probably a mistake. He said, well, I can walk over there and show you. He was like, why do you do this? But anyway, my supervisor just like, you just go ahead and give it to him. And like, I know when they get that tone, they're like, it's annoying because they know it's a mistake. We explain it to you and then you just persist on that mistake until you get your way. And this right here, until they get their way, is why this saying of the customer's always white, the customer's always right is bullshit. Like, seriously. And I say that because, like, sure, let's be real. About 95% of all customers that I ring up in a day don't have any issues. But there's always the 5%, or even probably less than 5%. There's always the little minority that has to have an issue and then escalates it past what it needs to be. You know, you got to escalate it to some like conflict, or you start yelling, you start arguing, you start cursing for no reason. There's always going to be that 5%, because the human race is just always the minority of the human race that feels entitled to more than they deserve, or feels entitled to more than what they're currently getting because something happened. Like, there's always going to be the people who come in and like watch. They'll rub their hands like, yes, wait, make a mistake, I dare you, I'm gonna fucking fuck you up, I'm gonna get all kinds of free shit off this goddamn mistake. Like, there are people like that, man. They won't talk to you, but God forbid you make one little error, and even if you're in the middle of fixing it, they will jump on your ass for it. It's so stupid. I'll get back on what I was talking about here in a little bit. Let me finish the end of the story here. So we give them to him, and as his customer's walking away, he says this most smart ass Alec. I kid you not, this smart ass Alec, this smart ass comment. And I hate when you get your way and you can't just leave quietly. You always have to do some shit. You just complained about nothing, got something for it, and then you can't just leave quietly. You gotta like rub it in someone's face. You gotta gloat. You gotta gloat about it. You gotta do something, man. You gotta make a face. You never can just leave quietly, because that's, like I said, the human race cannot be trusted, man. Yes, I'm talking about all of us. We're all humans. We all have that deep down, but there's a way to control what you do after you get something. You can just thank you and leave. That's all you have to do. If you fall for that urge to say something afterwards, you're an asshole. I'll straight up say it. You're an asshole for doing that. So anyway, this guy, as he's leaving, is that what Walmart saying? Keep the customer happy. I got triggered. I internally got fucking triggered the moment he said that, and I didn't go along with it. No, hell no. Walmart, that might be Walmart saying, but fuck that. If you're being an asshole about it, God forbid, I'm not about to kiss your ass and agree with you. Hell no. I was like, and he gave me the sternest look, like, as I was going, and I'm starting to ring up these other people. I'm like, not really. And I was like, there's a limit. And he was going on, well, down in blah, 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 because that's where he inserted where he was from. Our Walmart does that. That's our saying. I'm like, I was just going like, there's a limit. He just kept saying, there we're all from. I was like, if that's your argument, I don't give a fuck where you're from. And let's get that. That's the end of the story. Let me get back to what I was saying, though. This saying of keep the customer happy has a limit. Like, literally. There's a difference between keeping the customer happy for a good reason versus keeping the customer happy because they complained for 30 minutes straight and didn't get their way and threatened to do all kinds of shit or yell or leave or whatever. And then they're spoiling the customer, which is what I've been saying for like the past few years now. Ever since we started did start the price matching bullshit, which we don't do anymore, thank God. But like, there's a line between keeping the customer happy and then keeping the customer happy because they're complaining, and then spoiling the customer. There's many lines there. There's a big fat line between keeping the customer happy because they complained and spoiling the customer. Because what ends up happening is the customer sees a complaint. It's not a big deal, but they'll complain about it, and then they'll get their way. Like, and in the end, they're wrong, but we'll give them their way anyway because, they're complaining about it, and apparently we need to keep them happy. So we give them what they want. Guess what? They know now that since they can complain to the manager and just call them out if they want something, they'll do that every time in the future, or most of the time in the future. They'll come back, do the same shit. And you have these, like I said, it's not everybody. It's the minority of people. And this is a very small minority who will come and abuse that fact that literally, if they complain to the manager, that they'll get their way every time. It never fails. You have the people who they keep abusing that power again and again. And eventually you get some choice cases where the manager just won't give a shit anymore. And they'll be like, you do this all the time. We're not doing this. And then they'll leave and they'll never come back. And I feel like that's what needs to happen in the first place. Like I said, if it's a legitimate like mistake, okay. But you didn't hear how the end of the story went. My supervisor went over there and looked at the labels, and there was 2 of them that said $178 a pound. But apparently there was one more label in the middle of them that had each. Now, obviously, most people are going to look at that and check the price before they buy it. But in this choice circumstance, if there's 2 for pound signs and we've always sold them by the pound, then you know we sell them by the pound. You work for Walmart, you fucking know we sell those by the pound. How you gonna give me that bullshit and make that excuse? It's like, we explain it to you and then you basically try and say some bullshit, you curse us out, or we explain you what it is and then you complain. Like our word doesn't matter. And this is what I mean by like the customer's always right has a limit. There's a limit. If something rings up this in the system and it's in the wrong place, it's not supposed to be there, you should just be understanding that, oh, well, I guess someone else moved it there, and just accept the fact that it's not the right price. Not complain about it until you get your way. And like there's some circumstances all the time that happen where like it's such a huge change that we're not gonna do it, and then people throw a fit about it anyway. It's like, why? Just because this fucking 60-inch big screen TV was in the freaking 97 cents where the freaking candy bar was doesn't mean it's 97 cents. Like, come on. And that's not an actual scenario. That's just like, it's an analogy. But it in similar ways that it has happened like that. Like, and we're responsible, apparently, you know, mistakes happen. But at the end of the day, that people don't realize that in retail, every night, the whole store gets reorganized, you know, cleaned. Everything's put back where it's supposed to be. When shelves are stocked, things are restocked, things are reorganized and cleaned. So every single day, it's a brand new day. For some reason, people don't understand that things get moved, not by associates, but by other people. Apparently, customers can't be responsible for their own actions. And God forbid, you know, customers do anything. It's always the worker's problem. The workers move it. The workers put this in the wrong place. The workers did everything. Like, come the fuck on. Do you not? Who shops at the store? Yeah. It's just like, there are just some annoyances. It just bothers me. And I needed a rant about it. I really did. But what I don't understand is, like I said, 95% of most customers, no complaints. They'll just come in, get what they want, get out. If something's in the wrong place, 95% of people will just be like, okay, well, I don't want it if it's that price. And then they'll leave and they'll still be happy. But apparently the companies have to have everybody. They try to keep everybody happy, even the people who don't deserve to be happy, even the people who are clearly doing something wrong. You're trying to keep them happy too. It's like you don't want to avoid a sale, and it's so stupid because you bring everybody down when you do that, man. Let me give you an example. There was like a situation, a repeat situation, where someone would come in, pull something off the shelf, and try to return it, and then complain when they couldn't return it, and then get their way because they complained about it, even though they had video evidence of them coming in the store and pulling it off the shelf. And you give them their money back on this item they didn't buy. And then they leave and they come back and they did it again. And they complain and they did this shit over and over and over until finally they stopped. You shouldn't have did it in the first place. Like I said, who cares if we lose this one customer? They're upset. Oh my God. Who gives a fuck, really? Like, I know I'm being harsh, but like, I just don't understand like what these companies are thinking. They're making millions of dollars every single day. This one little missing customer complaining about, 2 cents is not going to be a big deal. And, you can obviously flip that argument the other way. It's not going to make a big deal to the company either. But it's like, what you don't understand is that the company as a whole is different from the store. And when it happens so often that your store is basically in the shit every year, then you got a problem. Because then you're worrying about everyone's jobs being at stake if the store shuts down or some bullshit, That's just what I don't understand. Like, the customer is always right. That's bullshit. Keep the customer happy, sure, but not to a limit to the point where you're spoiling them. They're just like kids, man. Like, literally, these customers are coming in the store and acting like a little 2-year-old who can't get their way, throwing a tantrum. Then they get their way, and then they leave happy because we gave them a fucking lollipop. And in this case, a lollipop is like a $50 gift card or some bullshit. $50, $100 gift card, whatever the situation is. All in all, I'm just trying to say, like, the saying has a limit. Don't spoil the customer. Like, don't think that they're right all the time. If they're genuinely wrong, then they need to be genuinely wrong, and you need to put your foot down and say, this is just how it is. I can't change it for you. You know, this is where this is supposed to be. This is the label for this item, even though you found it all the way over here in Bufu, Egypt. It was right here. This is the label for it. It's right here. This is how much it is. We're sorry we can't do that for you. And the customers need to just accept that. But they never will. You know why? Because humans have that sense of entitlement that is just hidden deep inside, that you have to resist the urge to act entitled, you know. And it kind of ties in with my last narration thing that I did with the whole hate. I had one on greed and I haven't wrote it out yet, but it's like greed, there's a small thing of greed inside everybody that you have to resist temptation to fall victim to, or else you're gonna want everything, you know. And this kind of ties into customers, you know. Customers can either accept that this is wrong, or they can get greedy or get entitled, complain, and then try to get everything, you know. And you're just making the workers have a harder time. Like, you don't understand what we go through until you work it every single day. You work it almost 365 days a year. Not 365 exactly, you know, count your 2 days off, but like still. It's like you don't understand. It's like the customers think they're above us somehow. And with this policy of keep the customer happy, thinking we're supposed to be a kiss ass, no. I'm not being a kiss ass to anybody, especially if you're going to be an asshole and being smart ass about it after you leave. No, I'm not being a kiss ass. Fuck that. But this is how life is, you know. This is how retail is. Customers are always happy. Like, customers are always right in every situation. Yeah, the fuck right. Anyways, I'm done ranting. I'll see you guys next time with some more videos. I'm not even giving a proper outro because I'm angry. See you then.